What's going on, fellas? We live once again, chopping it up with you. Eminent Sports Broadcasting. We're gonna discuss a little bit, a lot of the Gary Russell and Mark Miksaya fight that just ended not too long ago. We'll also talk about some of the other events that happened tonight as well. Interesting night of boxing, and from what it seems like, quite an interesting day of football as well. The UFC results is still we're still waiting on the Francis Ngannou and his opponent. His name escapes me at this moment. For those results to come in, but wow, what a night of boxing, man! Gary Russell loses his belt, longest reigning world champion in the sport, loses his belt to Filipino Mark Magsayo. But let's start from the beginning. First fight was King Tug versus Lucas. Lucas was a late replacement fighter. King Tug delivered a very underwhelming performance today, I must say. Fighting a guy coming in on late replacement, much older fighter. He shouldn't have been in the ring with you. They ended up giving it a draw. I thought King Tug did enough to win the fight. There was a shot that he took. I think it was a left hand on the chin that the referee ruled a slip. Was not a slip. Definitely wasn't a slip. Even when they replayed it for the referee, he still maintained that it was a slip and that he was justified in ruling it that as such. Clearly was a punch that caused King Tug to go down. I don't think he was hurt. It was a flash. He was kind of stepping back at the same time, and he hit the ground. Should have been ruled a knockdown. If that was the case, on my card, that would have been a draw. But with the referee calling it a slip, I had King Tug 96-94. They ruled it a draw. Can't complain about that at all. That's fair. So even though I thought King Tug won the fight with the unjust call that the referee made, it's fair that this fight was ruled a draw. Now I'm looking at the television and I see the results a little bit earlier. I'm kind of shocked that Green Bay, number one seed in the NFC, and they got knocked out of the playoffs first game. Aaron Rodgers can't catch a break. And then you also see Tennessee Titans, number one seed in the AFC, and they get knocked out. Boy, football's a motherfucker, boy. I'll tell you that. You know who my team is. Well, you guys don't know, but I know you guys are. I'm new to this YouTube landscape. We're exploring, letting it be known that ESB is planting its flag in the ground, and hopefully you will grow with us. Steelers all day. But yeah, Joe Burrow got it done, man. Good job. Good job for him. As we turn the page, we go to the second fight of the night on the PBC fight card, the Gary Russell Magsayo fight card. Cibrel Matias versus Ananyan. Ananyan in a rematch. First fight was a very tough fight, man. I scored that fight. If you watched the previous video, I scored that fight. I watched it live. I think when it first took place, and I was shocked. Like not shocked, but I was a little taken aback because you know what I mean. Not to be morbid, but whenever you have a fighter, man, that's taking lives in the sport, man, it's just it's kind of cynical, but you kind of want to see where that fighter goes, man, in his career. And I noticed that a lot of the commentators they're not talking about it, and maybe I shouldn't either. But I mean, the antennas definitely go up when you have such a situation that happens. Now, if that fighter continues with his career and he takes future fights, you kind of want to see what happens with him in his ups and downs and his struggles with dealing with that situation. And if you guys are not familiar, Sibrel Matias was the fighter that was in the ring with Maxim Dadashev, where he met his untimely demise. So a couple fights after that, he fought uh, Ananyan in a Wilder. It was the Wilder undercard for the Wilder Fury 2 undercard, and he was looking good at the beginning of the fight. Kind of similar to this situation that happened tonight. The referee was kind of getting involved with a lot of the fight. A lot of his shots are low blows or body shots that are hitting on the belt line. And the referees were calling it low blows. And in that first fight, Robert Byrd kind of took him out of his element. And he was unable to find his groove after being stopped multiple times on warnings for low blows. And the same situation happened tonight. We had a female judge. I didn't jot her name down or anything, but I'm gonna take a look at it and I'm gonna watch for her in the future. My first time ever seeing her referee a fight. And she kept warning him on low blows, man, that were on the borderline, man. They were on the belt line. You can't see the guy's belly button. Like, what are we doing, man? This is professional pro boxing. Like, what are we doing? If you can't see the guy's belly button and a fighter's hitting on the belt line, I mean, maybe you tell the fighter to adjust his trunks. Either way, she kept warning him and she ended up taking a point. But man, you could see the accumulation of punches taking place, taking set on Ananyan. Ananyan. And Mr. Matias avenged his only loss in his career. Happy for that. I'm happy for him. I like this fighter. I like him a lot. He's an accumulation puncher. He has great accuracy. He gets in the pocket, throws the punches nice and tight. He doesn't wind up. He doesn't throw wild shots. He doesn't throw from far. But when he throws, man, he's hitting its target. The only problem I have with Mr. Matias is his defense. He sits in the pocket, doesn't move his head. He absorbs punishment. And in the long run, that's not going to suit well for him, especially once he starts fighting guys with power. If he's going to do that, he's going to have to start working on his neck. He's going to have to strengthen his neck so he can absorb those punches. But yeah, great fight. Ended in a knockout. Devastating knockout, man. And you can see the type of puncher that he is. Like he said, he even said it in the when Jim Gray interviewed him in the post fight interview. He said it himself that he doesn't have a lot of power. But I mean, 18 fights, 18 knockouts. He's knocked out everyone he's faced. Everyone. And he's taking out dudes, man. But it's the accumulation of punches that he's delivering, man, because he's catching them. He's catching them right on the target. right on the chin, right in the temple, right behind the ear. Devastating fighter, man. Like I said though, man, the only problem is that defense, man. He's in a 140-pound division. We all know the undisputed titleist champion in that division is Josh Taylor. He ain't beating no Josh Taylor. It's not happening. Josh Taylor is a beast. He's big for the division. He's intelligent. So is he gonna get in that type of war with Matias? He might. But the thing is with Josh Taylor is he can hit. And like I said, with Matias, he's taking those punches, man. Those punches is a little too much for my liking, man. I would really like for him to work on his defense because I'm very intrigued by this fighter. I want to see him progress and move forward and win a world title and be a, a star in the sport because he's exciting as fuck. I remember when he fought Hawkins. Like I didn't know what the undercard was on that telecast that night. And then when I saw that Hawkins was gonna fight Matias that night, and I called my buddy and I was like, yo, upset alert. Upset alert. Because I seen Hawkins fight when he fought Darwin. I forgot what telecast that was, and Darwin was piecing him up, man, handling him very easily. And he suffered an injury. So Hawkins got that win, man. That was a big win for him in terms of a actual fighter. That thing has very, very good skills. I'd like to see Mr. Darwin get back in the ring, get some action. And Mayweather, what's going on with this guy, man? Let's get him out there. That's a very talented fighter, man. You guys need to be pushing him. You get some shit done for you guys. I'm taking a look at my phone and try to see what's the update on. Ooh, Francis Ngannou beats Sirigan, guys, by decision. 5-round decision. So I'm guessing it was a dominant performance and probably some knockdowns, busted him up probably. Wow. A lot of people weren't expecting that. They were expecting a KO. There was no KO. 5th-round decision. Definitely going to try to find that replay and dissect that. I like UFC, man, but it's hard for me to watch anything, man, when there's boxing on the table. I mean, guess what? My favorite living rapper was in town today, Styles P. He was just doing a show at Revolution with Havoc tonight. And my dog bought tickets for me to go. And I declined, man, because I just launched this channel and I'm trying to make it grow, man. So there was a good fight on tonight, and I didn't want to post on it late. I wanted to hit it while the iron was hot. So, I mean, the sacrifices we got to make. Also, too, Matias changed his trainer. I'm gonna dive into that a little bit more. I got to do more research on it. I'm not sure how long he had that trainer and he made that change, but that's very interesting. So we go into the main event: Mr. Gary Russell Jr. versus Mark Miksaya. And one thing I find troubling in the sport of boxing is when you have like a linchpin in the sport, like a Floyd Mayweather, right? Floyd Mayweather is one of the greatest fighters that ever lived. He does this thing for that long in the sport, and we get accustomed to announcers and unofficial scores looking at a superb fighter such as Floyd Mayweather in that light where he's able to control distance, he's able to not get hit, he's able to apply his defense, and he's able to lead with shots, get out the way, and not take much punishment. Now, I'm not saying that's exactly what Mr. Gary Russell Jr. did. He suffered an injury. it seems like what he said in the post fight was 2 weeks ago. He said he suffered an injury. And that was clear that he re-aggravated that injury in his shoulder. I think it was his right shoulder, right? Because he's a southpaw. So he was leading with straight lefts. And the announcers were not giving him much credit for that. Now, I'm not upset with the score at all. I thought Magsayo stepped it up at the end, closed the gap. I ended up with a 114 score. I had Mr. Gary Russell winning rounds 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, and then Mr. Miksaya went on a 3-round streak where he won rounds 10, 11, and 12, ending the fight with a draw. Now, Mr. Farhood had it a little bit wider. One of the judges had it a draw, such as I, and the other two judges had it by, I think, 2 rounds, 115, 113, right? So close fight. So I'm not understanding the scores at all. I'm not understanding the commentating at all, because it's clear on the rounds that Mr. Gary Russell won, that he was winning those rounds clear, because Miksaya was coming in straight, wasn't bombarding him with a lot of punches, was just literally walking in shots, throwing shots in the air. Gary was catching a lot of the shots on the glove. You can hear when when the glove smacks on glove, and you can hear, because there wasn't a lot of crowd noise, because the fight was so good and it was so intense, and everyone was on pins and needles watching. So you know what I mean? When shots landed, yeah, there was noise then, but everyone was kind of, you could hear the shots, and a lot of those shots were not landing. Now I give him credit. He did adjust, and he said, and then Freddie Roach must have lit a fire up under him, and he got busy, because he stepped it up in those last 3 rounds. If he did not, on my scorecard, he would have lost the fight. And I'm curious. Well, yeah, and if he didn't step it up, he would have lost the fight. So now he becomes a world champion. Gary Russell takes his first loss since the Lomachenko fight. Longest reigning champion, no more. So he was saying that he had an injury, and it's an old injury from the Olympic days. And we get this information from his post fight interview with Mr. Jim Gray. What's next for him? First, he needs to get that shoulder taken care of. That's one, right? I think an immediate rematch, if it's on the table for him, because he could beat this guy. He literally had one hand, just like Tank Davis did in the other fight where he hurt his knuckle. He hurt his knuckle against Mr. Cruz, and he was able to compete and win the fight. Don't listen to these morons on the internet and these fanboys and, you know what I mean, country pride people that are gonna say he should have won the fight because he's moving forward. If you're moving forward and you're not landing, get out of here with that crap. He was moving forward, he was pressing the action, but he was getting his ass hit. Not the case in this fight. Mark Miksaya was moving forward, but he was touching Gary. You know what I mean? I felt Gary, he couldn't maintain the boxing class that he was displaying, the ring generalship that he was displaying. He was running out of steam, and that probably has a lot to do with that layoff. You know what I mean? Fighting once in, was it 22 months or something like that? That's a recipe for disaster. But I commend you, man. I'm very proud of you for stepping up and delivering a performance that we could look at and look at with admiration, because you knew you were coming in with an injury that you probably re-aggravated, and you basically let it be known before the fight even took place. So anyone that was placing a bet, that was thinking, damn, I'm gonna go all in on Gary. Gary basically let you know that be careful with that. I'm coming in with an injury. I mean, that's not exactly what he didn't come out and say it like that, but you got to take it as such, man. And that was very classy of him. Not a good strategy for a boxer, but I respect that to an extent. But he takes this loss. I think he needs to get surgery on the shoulder. If it's an injury that's been nagging. I mean, come on, dude. You've had time. You've had time to take care of this, do the surgery. Now, I understand a lot of people don't want to go under the knife. They don't want to do the anesthesia, because a little secret that goes on in combat sports. A lot of fighters are reluctant to want to go under the knife. They don't want to go. They don't want to go down with the anesthesia, because a lot of them feel that they become more prone to being knocked out once you've been put to sleep. I've heard that. I've heard fighters say that before in the past. So, I mean, that's something that's very interesting. Is that the case? Is that the reason why Mr. Gary Russell didn't want to do the surgery? I'm not sure. But man, good fight, good night of boxing, man. Like I said, I had a 114, 114. Judges saw it different. One judge saw it my way, and they gave it to Mr. Miksaya. He ain't ready for Navarrete, that's for sure. None of those fighters in that division is ready for that buzzsaw. That is the boogeyman in the division now, moving forward. After Shakur pieces up Mr. Oscar Valdez, if Navarrete moves up, I'm pretty sure that's going to be a fight that Top Rank is going to push, because they're pushing that kid. Now Shakur is a superb talent, and they've already been talking about moving Navarrete up, because nobody wants to fight him in that division, because they feel like he's too big for the division. So in that case, you're being a weight bully. You need to move up, kind of like Paul Williams was when he was like at welterweight or some shit, right? Or yeah, it was a welterweight or middleweight or something like that. Junior middleweight, Paul Williams, 147. Man, that dude had dimensions on him that you didn't want to see. He was a threat. And I could see some fighters saying, you know what? I'm not gonna fight you, bruh. You're too long, you're too big for the division. That's not ducking. You got some freak talents, you got some freak specimens out there that are able to make weight. That doesn't mean that's a good fight for you. Sometimes you gotta avoid certain fights. And that in those situations, I understand when the dimensions are too much to overcome, or it's gonna be a problem. You know what I mean? Now, great fighters do take on those challenges, and they can overcome those challenges. But I can see where, you know what, we'll save that for another day, man. If that fight becomes so big that we got to take it where the money's big, we're gonna do it. Man, Tom Brady, man, going again. Tom Brady's up tomorrow, guys. Wow. Both teams with home field advantage throughout their conferences, both eliminated. Francis Ngannou beat Sirgon in the UFC Heavyweight Championship, and he has the belt. And the rumor is he can leave the UFC with that belt. No, walk out that motherfucker as the champion. Man, it's good to be Francis right now, boy. All roads lead through Mr. Ngannou. That's facts. But like I was saying, man, Mark Magsayo, he's food. He's food because he's unable to adjust fast enough to where he can make a difference. He almost lost to Gary Russell with one hand. And he re-aggravated this injury in like the second or third round. Come on, dude. You got to move him very, very carefully, Mr. Miksaya. You got to move him very, very carefully. That's for sure. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you for hanging out with me. Eminent Sports Broadcasting. My name is Classic. I'm your host. Um, yeah, ESB. We're doing things. We're gonna be doing some big things moving forward. Just give me a little bit of time. Be patient. You're gonna see this channel grow, man, because got a lot to say, man. Got a lot to say when it comes to all these sports. Got a lot of colleagues of mine that got a lot to say, and I'm trying to bring these guys to the forefront, man. We trying to do some big things in this medium right here. So you guys have a great night. You guys are gonna probably catch this live broadcast post. So go ahead and leave some comments, man. Subscribe because I'm gonna be bringing it, man. I'm gonna be bringing you guys some educated information. I'm dissecting these cards and these fights with as much unbiased as I mean. I can say 100% unbiased, right? And I do feel that way. That once I start watching the fight and I start scoring the fight, I'm gonna give you unbiased reaction. So you guys will be a judge of that. I want you guys to become intelligent and bring your intelligence to the table. You know what I mean? I don't think I'm gonna want to do any live chats during the fights. You know what I mean? I don't believe in that. I think the fighters are the star of the show. Enjoy these fighters when they're performing. And then we chop it up later. When you dissect your information, don't you wanna score the fight, see the fight yourself, hear the broadcast, determine whether or not it was a good broadcast or not? You want to watch the fight with your volume down? That's your choice. I like to watch the fight with my volume up. The ring announcers are not gonna sway my decision, a la Tim Bradley, Manny Pacquiao. I thought Manny Pacquiao lost that fight. You know what I mean? Now, when I did watch that fight live, that was a very interesting fight night that we did. That was when my father had like a bar, and it was hundreds of us in that bar watching that fight, and we're just listening to, you know what I mean, drinking, having a good time, you know what I'm saying, vibing, doing our thing. And I thought Manny Pacquiao won the fight based on the commentators listening to these jerk offs talking about fight punches that didn't land. And when they announced Timothy Bradley, I'm like, yo, what the fuck? What the fuck? Are you guys serious? Manny Pacquiao clearly won this fight. Then when I go home, immediately, because you know me, bruh, listen, if you guys know me, man, I'm a big boxing fan. I'll order pay-per-views without even being there live to watch it. I'll go home and watch it after the fact. I'd have it ordered, recorded, go home and watch it. That's why I'm not a fan of this streaming shit. A lot of times when I order my pay-per-views, I order it on my cable box because I'm able to go back, dissect these fights a little bit, and chop it up a little bit and see what's going on. But when I went back and I watched that fight, I said, damn, Timothy Bradley did win that fight. I know Timothy Bradley had his head down in that situation. He had his head down because a lot of people were telling him that he lost that fight. Man, you won that fight. Now you lost. You definitely lost the other two, but you definitely won that fight. So respect due, my youth. Anyways, the original classic is out. All right, y'all boys. Enjoy your night.